One of the things that worries me the most about the upcoming US presidential election is the apparent lack of confidence and faith that Americans have in their electoral voting system. It's a bit hard for Aussies to understand because we've got a pretty good system and a reputable organisation, the Australian Electoral Commission, that does a pretty good job, mostly. I do mean that. They drive candidates mad with rules and regulations, but they do keep the game pretty clean. And I'm not just being nice because they're exempt from criticism in the new misinformation and disinformation laws. Those laws haven't passed yet, thank God, so I could still criticise the AEC right now if I wanted to. I'm not kidding. I mean, that's really in Albo and Labor's new laws. No criticising the AEC. It's yet another reason why those laws are just so unbelievable. But anyway, back to the Yanks. Things are different there. The states run their elections. And people are worried about the millions of new migrants in the country, especially the illegal ones, voting. Apart from all the other ways that fraud could happen in the US election, it's very, very dangerous because confidence in elections is everything in a democracy. But it seems that even though the Republicans want to clean it up and require voter ID, the Democrats don't. You know, we hear the Democrats and Kamala Harris saying endlessly that Donald Trump is an existential threat to democracy. Then he got shot and they said, we better not say that anymore. Then they went right back to saying it again. But then he nearly got shot again. Now they still say it. In actual fact, you know, nobody seems to have proven that they're a bigger threat to the system of democracy and the institutions and America's conventions of law and politics than the Democrats. Their rampant political abuse of the criminal justice system to go after Trump on anything they could find in a witch hunt of lawfare, and they still failed, by the way. Their complete ignoring of even worse allegations against Joe Biden and his son, the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story right before the 2020 election, which no doubt had an impact on the result, really. It must have. They're hyping up of the January 6 protests at the Capitol building in 2021. All of those things prove that the threat to democracy, the threat to the republic, is coming more from their side. Far from Donald Trump being an existential threat to democracy, Elon Musk told Tucker Carlson this week that the threat from Harris and whoever behind her is far worse.
If Trump doesn't win this election, it's the last election we're going to have. The Democrats, the Dem machine, has been importing so many people, bringing in so many illegals, flying in with this like CBP border app thing that nobody even knew about, like secret program. That's illegal, basically. It's illegal, but there's no action by DOJ to actually to stop it from happening. They're transporting large numbers of illegals to swing states. If you look at the numbers, these are the numbers from the government website. So like from the Democrat-administered government websites. Like where do you get this data? From the government website that is run by Democrats. There are triple-digit increases in illegals to all the swing states. And in some cases, it's like 700% over the last 3 years. Now these swing state margins are, you know, sometimes 10, 20,000 votes. So what happens if you put, you know, hundreds of thousands of people into each swing state?
Elon Musk speaking to Tucker Carlson on his TCN channel on X. Musk says immigrants vote overwhelmingly Democrat, even if they have conservative values, because they know the Democrats will be softer on citizenship and provide more welfare.
So my prediction is if there's another 4 years of a Dem administration, they will legalize so many illegals that are there that the next election there won't be any swing states, and we'll be a single party country, just like California is a single party state. It's a supermajority Dem state in California
because of immigration.
Yes, California just passed, which is shocking. It's hard to believe this is even real, but California just passed a law making it illegal to require voter ID in any election at all in California. You know that?
No.
Yeah, Newsom signed it into law last week.
It's illegal to require an ID.
In any election, even a town council. And a friend of mine who lives in Palo Alto was like, it was like, is this actually real? And he went to like vote in like some city council election. He tried to show them his ID, and they said, we're not even allowed to look at your ID. And the same people that demanded vaccine IDs for if you want to travel or do anything are the same ones who say no voter ID is required.
Is there any reason
Obviously hypocritical.
to pass a law like that except to abet voter fraud?
It's so that fraud cannot be proven. So it enables large-scale fraud and no way to prove it, because how would you prove it? It's literally impossible. The purpose of no voter ID is obviously to conduct fraud in elections. Obviously.
There can be no other explanation.
Their common rebuttal is like it's racist to require ID, and which is insane. I think it's actually racist and patronizing to say that people can't figure out how to get ID.
So you see the rest of the
It's
country...
total bullshit, obviously.
Obviously.
Yes.
But that doesn't in any way minimize the aggression or self-righteousness they bring to this conversation.
Yes.
You're a racist if you want that.
Right. Whereas, in fact, obviously, someone is racist if they say that people of a particular race cannot get ID. That's patronizing and racist. That's absurd.
Yes.
Elon Musk making good sense there. Kamala Harris, meantime, did another big TV interview. This is quite a big deal for her. She avoids them like the plague. She did a couple, actually. She had the very softball Stephen Colbert Tonight Show appearance. But the main one was with US 60 Minutes, and it was a softball again, a bit tougher than the CNN one, which was just an ad, really. But she was still very heavily edited and supported a lot by the interviewer. This is about as tough as it got.
Let me tell you what your critics and the columnists say.
Okay.
They say that the reason so many voters don't know you is that you have changed your position on so many things. You were against fracking, now you're for it. You supported looser immigration policies, now you're tightening them up. You were for Medicare for all, now you're not. So many that people don't truly know what you believe or what you stand for. And I know you've heard that.
In the last 4 years, I have been Vice President of the United States. And I have been traveling our country. And I have been listening to folks and seeking what is possible in terms of common ground. I believe in building consensus. We are a diverse people, geographically, regionally, in terms of where we are in our backgrounds. And what the American people do want is that we have leaders who can build consensus, where we can figure out compromise and understand it's not a bad thing, as long as you don't compromise your values, to find common sense solutions. And that has been my approach.
Wow, okay, well, that answer had very little substance, practically none, and it was heavily edited. Imagine what the full answer would have looked like. She really is keen to make out that she isn't actually right now the vice president, to imply that she'll do things differently next time. But she can't escape the failings of the past 4 years under her watch, especially on immigration, the thing she was put in charge of, and the border. Although, as Elon Musk just said, they don't really want to fix that one. Perhaps the funniest moment of the whole 60 Minutes segment was when they interviewed Harris's vice presidential running mate, Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota. Walz is on record as lying many times about quite significant things like his military record and claiming he was in Hong Kong in 1989 when the Tiananmen Square massacre happened in Beijing. He wasn't. This came up in the vice presidential debate with J.D. Vance. And Walz's defense during the debate was to chuckle and say, "Oops, I'm a knucklehead sometimes."
Is that kind of misrepresentation, isn't that more than just being a knucklehead?
I think folks know who I am, and I think they know the difference between someone expressing emotion, telling a story, getting a date wrong.
Yeah, let's just pause for a moment here because this is truly delicious. What we're witnessing may be a political TV interview first. This is a politician arguing that he is a knucklehead. I'm not a liar, I'm just a knucklehead. Please believe me, I'm a knucklehead. Oh, we believe you, Tim. Don't worry about that, mate.
But I think it comes down to the question of whether you can be trusted to tell the truth.
Yeah, well, I can. I think I can. I will own up to being a knucklehead at times, but the folks closest to me know that I keep my word.
Okay, you win. You're a knucklehead. The polls in the US election remain pretty much neck and neck this week. Did you know that for every 2 to 3 teachers in Australia working hard in classrooms across the country, there is one taxpayer-funded bureaucrat sitting behind a desk doing admin and making and enforcing rules and regulations that make those teachers' jobs even harder? That's right, one bureaucrat for every 2 to 3 frontline teachers. That's how bloated our public service has become. But you'll never hear about it from the regular teachers' unions because they also represent many of those public servants. So says the leading alternative teachers' union in Australia, the TPAA. If you're a teacher, it's time to change to a union that will not only look after you without using your money to support the Labor Party, but which is taking on the government education system to sidestep those bureaucrats and use the savings to pay all teachers 25% more. The current waste must stop. All the red tape doesn't just suck up resources and time, it actually takes the teachers away from teaching our kids, and it wastes their time filling in crazy paperwork for meddling bureaucrats. So join the union that will actually stand up against big bloated government. Join the TPAA, the Teachers Professional Association of Australia. To find out more, just Google TPAA. The TPAA's fees are half the price because none of your money goes to any political party. And as an Other Side viewer, if you use our special code OTHERSIDE1 when you sign up, you'll get a further $100 off your first year's fees as a rebate on your first payments. Go to tpaa.redunion.com.au, tpaa.redunion.com.au to sign up now for a better union and support the Other Side too by supporting our sponsors. Thank you, teachers, you legends. If you like that clip, there's more where that came from in our full show, The Other Side. You can watch it right here, the latest episode. And please subscribe to our channel by pressing the subscribe button right here or down here. And remember to click that notification bell too. It all helps. Join us and become part of The Other Side.